there are thousands, perhaps as many as over 10,000 children that the Trump administration viciously and cruelly, intentionally separated from their parents with intentional cruelty in the hopes that that cruelty, the word of that cruelty, would get back to Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador and cause people to say, you know, I really don't want to put my kid through that kind of hell. I'm not going to go try to emigrate to the United States. And how do we know this? Because both Kristen Nielsen and John Kelly, her mentor, told us this. They have been right up front about this right from the get-go. We are going to inflict enormous pain on these little children and their parents, and that pain we want communicated back to people in Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador and Mexico as well, so that they don't send their kids here. So now, so then, you know, the courts are saying you have to reunite these kids. And this story shows up in today's AP News. And why this isn't the lead story in every single newscast in America, I don't know. But this is it. It's by Elliot Spagat. It is the Associated Press, apnews.com. And the Trump administration says it would require extraordinary effort to reunite what may be thousands of children who have been separated from their parents. And even if they could, because they don't want to do the extraordinary effort, even if they could, the children would likely be emotionally harmed by being reunited with their families. You get this? They're saying, the argument they're making now, Julian White, who heads the Health and Human Services Department's efforts to reunite migrant children, said removing children from their sponsored homes to rejoin their parents, quote, would present grave child welfare concerns, end quote. He said, and I quote, it would destabilize the permanency of their existing home environment and could be traumatic to the children. In other words, they took these children, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, they took them away from their parents months ago, in some cases a year ago, and these kids have now been in these foster families or these relative families all this time, and they have bonded with those families. And if you take them away from those families and give them back to their natural parents, it's going to be traumatic. So we're not going to do that. Ann Maxwell, the Health and Human Services Assistant IG, said that the number is certainly larger than the 2,737 kids listed in government court documents. She says it's in the thousands. Jali Selag, the director of HHS's Office of Refugee Settlement, says it would take 8 hours to review each of its 47,000 cases between July 1st of 2017 and the June court order, last June's court order to reunite. So that's a whole year. 47,000 cases. Says it would take 8 hours per case, and that adds up to 100 employees working 471 days. She says that such an assignment would substantially imperil options unless we dramatically increase staff. Well, friggin' increase your damn staff. I mean, come on. This is obscene that we've got, what, 47,000 families tied up in this thing, where families and children, and we know we've got at least 48,000 people who have not committed any crime, who are in for-profit private prisons. They haven't committed any crime. And they're in these prisons where they're being forced to work for as little as $1 an hour or nothing. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, turns out, works, and I put that in scare quotes. He never gets to work before 11 a.m., and typically he leaves work around 1 p.m. Oh, and lunch is in the middle of that. This Aunt Krabby. Call me old-fashioned, but I expect my president to get his fat lard ass out of bed and get to work before 11 a.m. With apologies to people who are overweight. I agree with Aunt Krabby. This was leaked to Axios and the schedules, and it shows that he spends 60% of his scheduled time in what's called executive time, which is the White House euphemism for tweeting and watching TV and making phone calls to his friends.